Ian Macfarlane speaking there a little earlier this morning. We're expecting the Greens leader Christine Milne to step up. Actually, she's stepping up right now. So this is in the wake of that announcement this morning by Tony Abbott, Barnaby Joyce and Ian Macfarlane that the federal government is definitely keen on seeing some sort of labelling there, a country of origin labelling.
I'm delighted to be here with Andrew White from AusVeg to welcome the Prime Minister's announcement that at last the government is going to proceed on country of origin labelling for the food that is purchased in Australia. This is something that the Greens have been campaigning on for a decade. We've had several Senate inquiries, we've had endless consultation, and AusVeg has been there from the start and probably before that, campaigning to make sure that Australian consumers, when they go into a supermarket to do their shopping, or into a fruit shop anywhere, can pick up something and know that it was grown in Australia or whether it wasn't grown in Australia, whether it was processed here or whether it wasn't processed here. These are really basic questions. But now we've got 18 cases of hepatitis A across 4 states. The community has said enough is enough, we want clear labelling. Not only is it good for public health, but it's great for Australian farmers, and that is so important as well. Australian farmers are up against it because they are competing with cheaper imported products, and as I have said endlessly, the problem for Australian farmers is that they have to meet environmental and labour standards, whereas often the countries competing with them don't meet those standards, and now we have seen that tragically with the outbreak of hepatitis A related to contaminated frozen berries. So number one, I'm pleased the Prime Minister is moving to address country of origin food labelling. I don't think we need any more talk. We've had endless consultation. The solutions are there. It is very clear that we just need to relabel products and to say this is produce of Australia, this is manufactured in Australia, or this is packaged in Australia. And it's biased in favour of giving the producer the opportunity of giving more information. So for chocolate, for example, you could say manufactured in Australia using Tasmanian milk. Or you could, if you have a product that is sliced up pineapple on a tray with glad wrap over the top, if it just says packaged in Australia, you can be pretty sure that that pineapple has been imported from somewhere else, unless it says packaged in Australia from a pineapple grown in Australia. So it's very easy to get clear labelling. The objection to it to date has been from the big multinational food corporations. Every time we get to this point with the farmers, with the community, in they come. They're the ones who give the big donations to the Liberal and Labor parties, and as a result, there are always technical issues which kill better country of origin labelling. So now's the opportunity to do it. We've got the solutions, and the excuse the government is relying on is, oh, it might be too costly for manufacturers to change their packaging. So I'd like to hand over to Andrew from AusVeg to just show why the packaging cost argument, the labelling argument, no longer holds any water if it ever did. Andrew.
The main excuse that's raised with us is that...
Sorry.
Is that possible? Thank you.
The main excuse that's been raised with us time and time again is that it costs too much to change the packaging. We believe that is an excuse. It's simply not the case. As you can see on a wide variety of packaging that we have here today, manufacturers are able to change packaging on a regular basis at the drop of a hat. We have movie ticket giveaways, associations with the Cricket World Cup, a whole range of different things that they will use for their marketing advantage to change packaging on a regular basis. This can be done. We have modern technology available to us these days. Packaging can be changed readily and easily and quickly at little cost to the consumer. We believe that the cost is negligible. We have movie ticket giveaways displayed on packages where we're seeing packages changed on a regular basis. There is no excuse not to change country of origin labelling. We believe that it needs to be changed to give farmers a fair go and to make a level playing field for Australian producers so that they can get recognition in the supermarket aisles.
So if cost isn't the issue, what is the issue? Why have politicians failed to act up until this stage?
I think there's been a scare campaign that this is going to cost consumers. We don't believe that's the case. As you can see from these examples, clearly packages can be changed very easily. It's not going to cost a lot. The packages are already changing from day to day, from month to month, to promote various things for movie ticket giveaways, for the Cricket World Cup, these types of things. It's not hard to change the packaging on the products at all.
What sort of labelling would you like to see then? In terms of the...
AusVeg would like to see made from local and imported ingredients removed. We'd like to see a clear statement of where the product has come from. We'd like to see recognition for Australian producers.
What about the idea of a graph or a pie chart?
Well, we think there needs to be a simple mechanism. From AusVeg's perspective, we're keen to work with all political parties, but there is a bill before Parliament at the moment from the Australian Greens that addresses this issue. From our perspective, we're keen to work with all the parties to get an outcome that'll be good for producers.
Christine, what kind of timeline, now the Liberals are coming towards this idea, what kind of timeline would you put in for food labelling?
Well, I would like to see the country of origin labelling dealt with very quickly. The Prime Minister has set an end of March deadline for submissions to Cabinet. It actually could come a lot faster than that because we've done all the consultation. We've been out there with the consumer groups, with the producers, with the manufacturers. We know what needs to be done. It's the political will. I think it all comes down to whenever we get to this point, the multinationals who are part of the Food and Grocery Council, who donate to the Liberal and Labor parties, then kick in and then it all goes to nothing. Now is the time to strike. The Greens are prepared to work with all political parties across the Parliament to see this happen. I think that everybody would love to see it happen. So I'm really calling on the Prime Minister, let's have no more talking about it, let's get on and do it.
Do you think, though, that, I mean, there's nothing wrong, I think everyone's in favour of having greater information to consumers. But I mean, if the Nana's berries had had made in China on it, that wouldn't have stopped them having potentially hepatitis A. I mean, are we getting a bit sidetracked from the real issue, which is about the hygiene standards and the testing that's required?
Oh, absolutely. We need to be looking at the way that a product is produced in terms of the environmental impacts as well as the labour standards, and that's why the Greens have always stood up on free trade agreements saying they're not fair, because Australian farmers have to meet certain phytosanitary standards that other countries aren't meeting, and that means we are producing our product more expensively because we're meeting those standards other countries don't. And the real challenge there is to Andrew Robb and to the Prime Minister. This can't be seen just as a solution of labelling on its own. We also have to recognise that free trade agreements have done us no favours when it comes to maintaining the quality of the product we need. And the Trans-Pacific Partnership is a big threat because they'll be coming after us on those phytosanitary standards, and we don't want to see them reduced. But having said that, there are so many issues to address. Country of origin labelling is a straightforward one. The community wants it, and at least it will give people information where they make those choices, and they can support an Australian product and they know what they're getting in terms of standards. If they buy a product from somewhere else, they're going to know that it might be cheaper, but maybe they can't rely on it in terms of how it's been produced or the standards that it meets.
Ian McClellan said yesterday or the day before it's been an issue for 30 years in farming since he was involved with the Queensland Farmers Federation. How confident are you that we can actually reach a compromise on this issue? Because everyone seems to agree that it needs to be done, but no one can agree on what actually needs to be done.
Well, I think everybody can agree on what needs to be done. What the problem has been is the influence of the big corporations on the major parties when it comes to political donations. And I think what we should be doing is looking at the political donations, looking how much they give to the parties, and then watching where the objections are going to come from, and you'll see exactly that relationship. Now, however, that 18 people have contracted hepatitis A across 4 states, I don't think the community is going to tolerate playing politics around money and political donations anymore. The consumers want it, the farmers want it. It's great. AusVeg has been out there for years. We know what the answers are. That's what we need to be pursuing, not one eye to political donations.
Andrew, you've mentioned that the price of repackaging widely distributed products is negligible. Are you able to sort of put a dollar figure on how much it would cost the company?
We came out last week and we actually asked the manufacturers, the processors, we said, come forward, if this is an issue, provide us with proof that this is going to cost more, and the silence has been deafening. There's been no response. As you can see from these examples, labelling can be changed very easily. The packaging can be changed very easily. It's not a hard thing to do and it's not costly.
South Coal Australia, which is I think the tuna and salmon producers, told that parliamentary inquiry they thought it would be between $2 and $6 million a year with no benefit to their own company. You dispute that figure?
I would dispute any figure that claims to say that it's going to cost a lot of money to change labelling when clearly we can see from these examples that the labelling is changed on a regular basis. This is happening. The labels are being changed. We have marketing campaigns around the Cricket World Cup. We have marketing campaigns with movie ticket giveaways. If it's so hard to change the labelling, if it's so costly, why is it being changed? Why is this happening right now? I think consumers can see through that. I think farmers can see through that. Farmers want a fair go. They want a level playing field, and this needs to change.
Do you expect this will also be good for Australian farmers in the sense of extra sales? That there's an appetite for people to buy Australian?
Absolutely, there's an appetite for people to buy Australian. Consistently in surveys, Australians have shown that they want to support Australian producers, but the labelling at the moment is so confusing that it makes it extremely difficult for consumers in the supermarket aisles to distinguish between a product that has been produced here and one that's come from overseas.
The label made from local and imported ingredients is ridiculous. What does that mean? If you pick that up, you've got no idea how much of what is that in that jar or packet has been imported, where from, or anything else. It really is a waste of time to have that on a label, and getting rid of that is a good start. We need to be able to identify where a product has been grown.